and welcome to Murphy's Garden. And I, for one, am really happy because we've had loads of rain overnight, and I'm absolutely thrilled because the garden was so dry, and I've got all these little seedlings that I want to put in, and I just can't do it if the ground is dry, so I should be able to get on and do that. But before I do, we're going to pop over to visit a plant fair, and this is a good opportunity because I spent yesterday cutting a lot of things back in the borders. A lot of the geraniums had gone over, and some of the aqualegia and some of the things just generally going over at this time of year. And this can sometimes be referred to as the June gap, where there are a few gaps that appear. So I might go and get some, perhaps a few little additions to the garden and see what they've got at this plant fair. We have been to it before and it's been really good. And it's at a place called Hodnet. Hodnet is a little village. Incidentally, it's been voted Britain's poshest village in Britain this year. It got the top spot, so there you go, interesting point. And Hodnet is near Market Drayton in Shropshire, and it's not far from Woolerton Old Hall. And Woolerton is the garden that we visited a few weeks ago, so if you haven't seen that video, definitely watch that because it's an absolutely beautiful garden, and you can get lots of ideas and tips from that garden. And this garden is equally beautiful on a completely different style. It's much bigger than Woolerton, and it's not so formal, but it's huge. It's got loads of specimen, beautiful trees and lakes and beautiful things to see. Unfortunately, Alistair's quite busy. He's got lots of things he wants to get done today, so I hope that you will join me and keep me company, and we'll go and visit Hodnet Hall. I'm at Hodnet Hall, and behind me you can see the most beautiful example of a Cornus creuset. And wow, just look at this, isn't it spectacular? And these are the bracts. So it's a beautiful tree, truly special tree. We saw it at Chelsea and we've seen it at various gardens, and it's one that I, for one, really want to get. We did discuss its preferences, its likes and dislikes in the deciduous tree video if you're interested in it too. So the plant fair is here, but I'm going to resist buying plants at the moment, as hard as it is, and I'm going to go and have a look around the grounds. So I'm walking very quickly because I was just trying to walk through the plant sale. I've already bought 2 eucalyptus and 1 pot of various plants, so I'm trying not to spend any money at the moment because I want to go and have a look around the garden first. So I've just asked them to keep hold of them, and I'll go back and pick them up. Oh my goodness, look at this tree. I'm not really very good at some tree names. I don't know what everything is here. Look at this pond. And this is a peony, sort of like a peony maze. Remember this from last time. Oh, we've timed it right. It's a perfect time to visit. Some roses around the outside, and then the whole area is filled with the most spectacular display of peonies. And we've got berberis in the middle there. It's a nice little hedge. And it's interesting to see how they're supporting their peony heads. So they're using this kind of pea netting, which I've used on our peas in the vegetable patch, but they're using it on the peonies. So that's an interesting little tip. I think they're hydrangea in the middle. Beautiful. And look up the top, the blossom up the top. What a garden, it's stunning. So much to see here, loads to see. And there's a lot of water in this garden, there's water everywhere, and it's lovely. This is a lovely acer, lovely colour on the leaves. And you know me, and I always have acer envy when I see other people's lovely acers. And some bamboo. And some more water, lovely pond here with perfect looking water lilies. And look at that gunnera in the background, how massive it is. The leaves are huge, and some lilies, some arum lilies over there in the corner, and a waterfall, 2 waterfalls. Some beautiful big leaved hostas. In fact, I bought my big leaf hostas from the plant fair here a few years ago, and we've got rhododendrons, lots of rhododendrons in this garden. There's a really good selection of them. More in the background at the back there. And if you get a bit peckish, there's a tea room. And selling, what's that? Is that ice cream? Oh no, teas and coffees. And it's also dog friendly too, so lots of dogs here. Although I haven't brought Murphy because I thought managing the camera and Murphy might be a bit too much, and a load of plants. This garden, incidentally, is quite good for wheelchairs because there's nice big open paths and some nice geraniums there, and just so much to see. This is a nice shaded spot, so lots of ferns here. Stilby and all sorts of things. And I'm just taking this to show Alistair. So this is two big stone posts either side. You know how we talked about framing an entrance, so Alistair is going to make some little brick built, not quite on this scale, but just into parts of our garden just to add that interest. And here's a very good example of it done very well on a large scale. So I think we'll just have a little wander around the grounds, and while we do, I'll just tell you a little bit of the history of Hodnet Hall. These gardens have existed in some form or another for many hundreds of years. Their design today reflects the changing shape and fortunes of Hodnet Hall. 3 different dwellings have existed within the grounds in the past millennium, and what you see today represents a tapestry of human endeavour, beginning with the construction of a Norman castle in the 12th century, whose residential earthworks can be seen behind the visitors' car park. In the 16th century, a large timber-framed Tudor mansion occupied the area at the end of Beach Avenue, a damp, inauspicious location at the bottom of the valley. The Tudor stable block, now the garden restaurant, is all that remains. The Heber-Percy family vacated the house in 1865 to build the neo-Elizabethan red brick mansion on higher ground, which had far-reaching views over the Shropshire Hills. Around this house they built a terrace walk and formal circle garden, both of which form part of the gardens today. It was the young army officer Brigadier Heber-Percy, the current Sir Algernon's father, born in 1904, who had the vision to build a flight of steps that would link the house to the established gardens below, and to dig out a succession of pools. He was a passionate landscaper even in his 20s. Encouraged by his mother, he would invite members of his regiment from London to Hodnet on the promise of a good weekend, on the proviso that they helped him dig, which is how the daisy chain of pools came about. In 1966, 5 years after Brigadier Heber-Percy's death, his son and daughter-in-law, Algernon and Jane, took charge of the estate. With a staggering 72 rooms, they felt the house was far too big for their needs, so they commissioned architects to remove the second floor entirely and create an open cloister where the north wing once stood. Ever since, Algernon and Jane have welcomed visitors to share in the fluid and effervescent beauty of their gardens and to form their own memories of the beautiful plants, wildlife and parkland. When visiting any garden, it's really nice to understand the people behind the garden and the people that actually created it, and this garden is steeped with fantastic history. So pass beneath the dappled canopies of the trees that line Beach Walk, and you'll be walking in the footsteps of Bishop Reginald Heber, born in 1783, died in 1826, and he lived at the old vicarage in Hodnet for many years. Whilst walking down these drives, he wrote his most famous hymns, including Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, which was considered by Tennyson to be one of the finest hymns ever written. Reginald Heber would walk beneath these same trees some 300 years ago, when he made regular visits to visit his brother in Hodnet Hall, of which only the stable block, now the restaurant, is still standing. After 16 years as a country parson, he served as Bishop of Calcutta until his death at the age of 42. The current resident of Hodnet Hall is Sir Algernon Heber-Percy and his wife Jane. Sir Algernon served as Lord Lieutenant of Shropshire until retiring in 2019. He's been involved in much charity work through his role, and we had the pleasure of meeting him. My husband and son Josh were involved with the local charity, for which Josh did some filming with his drone. So Algernon attended an event that they did, and he spoke to Josh about his drone. It was just so lovely with him. The following week we came as a family to visit the garden at Hodnet for the annual plant fair, just as we are today, and we bumped into Sir Algernon in his wellies walking his dog. He recognised Al and Josh and told Josh he must come and take some drone footage of Hodnet. I'm not sure if he was joking, but we never took him up on the offer, but it certainly would have been amazing, and we were bowled over by how kind and down to earth he was. Such a lovely man. So we'll head now into the kitchen garden. So this is a beautiful walled kitchen garden, so giving that nice microclimate. So here's a sort of picking area, lots of beautiful flowers for picking, and then there's lots of greenhouses, lots of space for growing things that do better under glass. Another one over here. And then we've got the espaliered fruit trees and the box hedging. And here on this side is the orchard, and the grass is just left to grow long beneath, and that looks very natural. And then just more flowers and more fruits and vegetables. And on this side there are lots of roses for cutting. Rows and rows of roses. And on the other side are lots more peonies. So we saw the peonies in the other part of the garden, the peony kind of maze. And here we've got them growing in abundance, presumably for picking. And along the back we've got the espaliered trees, more of them. And on this side we've got loads and loads of fruit. So we've got raspberry canes, there are black currants, gooseberries, there is some rhubarb. Everything's looking really healthy. So plenty to eat here, and this would have supplied the house for all its requirements, and I guess it probably supplies the tea room and the cafe. And some more edibles here, some potatoes and beans and various different things, lots to eat. So very well kept, lovely garden, and some more things for cutting. So there's artichokes there, and just lots and lots of flowers suitable for cutting for the garden. And as we leave the kitchen garden we see this beautiful little building, and this is actually a dovecote, and it was used to breed pigeons or to encourage pigeons, and they would be fattened up and used as meat. So a nice little place for them to live. And here are some little calves that have just recently been born. They're beautiful. And we'll go back now to the plant fair. Time to spend some money. There are lots of beautiful little stalls with gifts, and there are lots of people here, and lots of plant stalls as well with beautiful plants. And this is a little gift that I have bought. This little stall is bonsais and succulents. Cacti.
What you would need to do, see that root there is sticking up. Get something like a hair clip or whatever and take it down. So yeah, no problem.
This stall is all eucalyptus, which is fortunate because my eucalyptus has died and I do want to get a new one. So we'll have a look and have a chat with the man and see which is the best one for growing in a pot. This is a lovely little stall just displaying Sophia Davenport's artwork, so some absolutely beautiful paintings and ceramics as well. I left Hodnet and passed the reputedly haunted ruins of Morton Corbett Castle, where I heard and saw the red arrows pass overhead. This weekend was the nearby Cosford Air Show. Hello, I'm back home now. Had a lovely time at Hodnet Hall, really enjoyed it. Had a nice walk round all the grounds and into the kitchen garden as well. And we were quite lucky because Alistair said that just shortly after we left here we had another deluge of rain, so the garden has definitely had a good soaking, which is very fortunate because I have bought quite a few plants at the plant fair. So I'm just going to run through what I've bought, and then I really need to get on and get into my gardening gear and start actually doing some work, because I seem to be doing everything but work. So this is what I've bought. So I've bought another Thylictrum. The Thylictrum that we bought last year at Tatton has done really well this year. It's got these lovely white flowers on it, and this one here has got, if you can see, has got little pink flowers. So it seems to really like our soil. So I thought another one would be nice to have in the garden as well. So that's that. The other thing, I had got a eucalyptus in a pot, which was up in the vegetable patch, and I think just with the harsh wet winter that we had, it's just died. So there was a man there selling eucalyptus, and so I had a chat with him and said I wanted some for flower arranging particularly, and that I intend to grow it in a pot. I actually ended up buying 2 instead of just 1, so I have to now find another pot. But I think this one is called Azura, I think that's right. Rather annoyingly, it doesn't have a plant label on it, so I can't remember what the other one's called, but I did take a picture of the stand, so I might be able to work out what it's called. But this one is greener. This one that stays quite small. This one, he says, if it goes into the ground, it will get big, but if you keep it in a pot and keep cutting it, which we intend to do, it will stay small. So that's that. The other thing I've bought are some more salvias. So we have this Salvia Amistad, and I have had other ones in the past and they haven't made it through the winter, so I've bought some more, and with the intention that I will try and take cuttings to try and get them through the winter. So this one's called Salvia Kisses and Wishes, and it's a lovely kind of coral pink colour. They look nice, opening to pink. They look quite coral colour at the moment, but the label shows them to be pink. And then I've bought 2 of those, and then I've also bought this one, which is called Sage Indigo. There's just some flowers up the top there, not many, but it's called Sage Indigo. So I'll get those in the ground this afternoon. And then the other thing, the top borders, I have got some heleniums up there, but I think I need more because they didn't really do a lot that last year. So I got 3 of these plants to try and sort of make a bit of a bigger clump. They're called, put the name on the screen, but they're called Helenium Sahin, I think that's right, and it's an RHS awarded helenium, and they're like a sort of dark burgundy kind of colour. So I thought that would look nice. And then the other thing, it's my mother-in-law's birthday coming up, and we are going to go and visit them next weekend. So I thought it would be nice, instead of getting some flowers, which was my intention, well, although I might take some flowers from the garden anyway, but I thought this would last a bit longer. So look at this, it's really beautifully planted, lovely planter, really lovely. And it has got holes in the bottom, yes, and it's planted out very nicely. So that's a gift that will last a little bit longer than flowers. So I'm really pleased with that. And then the other rather exciting thing, and I'm quite excited to show you this because it's so beautifully packaged. Look at that. It's got all these lovely little botanical pictures all over the kind of envelope or folder. And inside is this picture. And this is by a lady called Sophia Davenport. It's of silverweed or potentilla. There's lots of different ones to choose from. I'll post in the description, I'll post a link to the website. They've got quite a comprehensive website and it explains the backstory. So the man we spoke to explained that this is artwork by his, I think it was his great grandmother or his great great grandmother, I can't remember which. And she did this, so she was a Victorian, around the Victorian times. And her father, he went to Oxford, Magdalen College in Oxford, and studied sort of botanical things and flora and things like that, but obviously she as a woman couldn't do that, but she was very influenced by him, and she had a great passion for painting botanical artwork, and she travelled quite extensively, and everywhere that she went she took her paintbrush and painted everything that she saw. She also does do some landscapes as well, and bridges and things like that, various other things, so have a look on the website. But I've just bought one of these because what we're doing at the moment in our house, we've got, as you go up the staircase, we thought it would be quite nice to do a kind of gallery of pictures. And this was inspired, we have got quite a few pictures and stuff that we didn't really know what to do with. So we thought it'd be nice to do a collection. And also I've inherited a collection of postcards that belong to my grandpa. So grandpa was in Northern Ireland and he was a great collector of lots of different things. And one of the things that he collected was postcards, and he's got this lovely collection of postcards, and it's all from about the very early 1900s, so sort of pre-war. And all of the postcards are addressed to a lady called Ella McIlrath, and she was the daughter of a Presbyterian minister, and she had 3 sisters. And she seemed to travel. I don't think they're related to us. I think Grandpa probably just collected these, just bought the postcard collection, but they travelled quite a lot. And it's quite interesting for social history to see what they were doing at that time. And I was quite surprised how much they did travel. And these postcards are from her sisters predominantly, but also her friends. And they just chart what they're all doing around that time. They're very chatty and very lovely. And so I've had some of these framed, and we've put them on this gallery wall. And I thought this would be a nice addition too, because it's all around that same sort of time. So I absolutely love botanical artwork, and you can see that my love of gardening extends into the house too, with lots of pictures of nice botanical artwork. So I'm always keen to add to my collection. Some of them are just quite inexpensive little prints and things that I've had framed, and others are a little bit more expensive. We'll get that framed and we'll add that to the wall as well. So a very successful day, and I need now to go and get my scruffs on and get out in the garden and get to work. So thank you very much for watching, and join us again in the next video. Bye for now.